welcome to another episode of The Journey Over My Journey. And I am your girl Maria, and we're going to get into accountability today. So, just to let you know, accountability is account of required or expected justification of our actions or decisions. So, bottom line is we have to take accountability for what we did, not what somebody else did to us, but what we did in the process. So, I like to think about, you know, bad relationships. How many times did we see red flags, but we chose to ignore them? Dealing with people that really are not good for us, whether it's a family member, a friend, toxic relationships, friendships, just being a people pleaser because we want to fit in or join a group that really we not made for, but we want to because it's the in crowd. We have to understand that those are the things that have made accompanied us in the actions and the feelings that we end up having. A lot of times, when I think about holding myself accountable, when I was in what going through my healing journey, I thought about what I end up dealing with as a child. I was a attention seeker. I danced all my life. I was in dance companies, so I got a lot of attention for dancing very well. But I ended up taking it into my adulthood by becoming a yes person, seeking gratification based off of what people said about me, or seeking gratification from relationships that really didn't do me no well, but because they praised me for something or thanked me for something or I did something well, that was enough for me. Oh, let's go. I'm happy. Even though 90% of the things that was going on was horrible. Even though I didn't like some of the people that was around, but because I felt like they were for me because we did the same things. Think about your crowd. You smoking, you drinking, um, y'all talk about sex. These things are a part of your acceptance. Even though you didn't feel or didn't see, at the end of the day, your mindset is becoming those things. You're smoking or drinking because you're covering up something. I smoked for 19 years. I am now 30 days, well, couple days from 30 days sober as I make this video. I'm very thankful. I never thought that I would be at this point. Um, when I tried to stop smoking when I was pregnant, I ended up finding myself in a bad situation. We'll talk about that later. But when I say you really, really need God to assist in your healing process, because you can find a lot of hurt and anger and pain in healing. But we have to hold ourselves accountable for that hurt, for that pain, for why we stepped in those situations, why we stayed in relationships we knew were not good for us, why we allow people to talk to us or treat us a certain way. Like, for instance, ladies, let's not act slow when we allow our friends to be like, bitch, no, I was never that one. But I would accept it. Like, oh, she didn't mean it that way. What we don't understand, a lot of times people can be underlying jealous of us. And that bitch is really a sense of, I really don't like her. She's really is a bitch. But hey, we got to accept that. We got to accept that we chose to deal with those things for years. We chose to be around those people for years. When underlying, there could have been some jealousy issues there. Underlying, there could have been some anger there. We have to recognize our choices. We have to recognize that we dealt with certain things because we wanted to fit in. We have to recognize that even though we saw several red signs in a relationship that we should not have been in, we accepted a lot of things because we were hurt. We accepted a lot of things because we were broke and busted and disgusted. So we have to hold ourselves accountable for these things. I had to hold myself accountable for having a child with a man that I knew for a fact wasn't shit. Period. He wasn't good to his other kids' mothers. But of course, we have this mindset of we can change someone when in reality, it's just we want what we want. And that's something you'll hear me say a lot. When you want what you want, you cannot be upset with the consequences that we deal with. I had to hold myself accountable when I chose to keep my child because one, she was a blessing because I ended up losing my mom 6 weeks after she was born, and I had to accept the accountability of I'm about to have the same conversation with this child that I had to have with my first child, even though both of their fathers were present, they were toxic. They were worse around than not around. And we'll get to that too. Sometimes we have to accept people don't know better or choose not to want to know better or choose not to become a better person because they're okay with the things that they do. Why? Because it's accepted. They will find someone to accept it. They will find women to accept their BS. They will find someone that will gratify what they're doing. And it's okay because we have found people to gratify what we're doing. And it's not good in no way, shape, or form. But when you hold yourself accountable, I had to help myself accountable. And I accepted, but I also had to accept some conversations. Like my oldest daughter and me ended up having a nice conversation where if I did not listen to that scripture that God gives me all the time, you have to have an attitude like Christ. When he says to have an attitude like Christ, it's having an attitude of love, having an attitude of understanding, having an attitude of acceptance of what is about to be said to you. Because I know many of us, especially 80s babies who had our kids in our 20s, they're in their teenage years now and they're going into relationships. They're going into having their first girlfriend or boyfriend, and we don't want them to make the same mistakes that we did, but we have to nurture them. We have to give them the understanding. Shoot, a lot of us show them exactly what they don't want by having their fathers around or having their mothers around, and they see it. They see it. Some men are very honest. Like my daughter's father is very honest. You don't want to be with somebody like me. And the fact that they're able to say that, then you already know. That's a sense of toxicity, which again, that's a whole nother conversation, which we'll get into. But first, we're talking about ourselves being accountable for the choices that we made. It's not easy, but when you're able to hold yourself accountable, you are able to go into healing. Able to hold yourself accountable. I chose to be with this person. I saw the red flags and I ignored them. Where was I at the time that I started to deal with that person? Me personally, with both of my kids' fathers, I was in the sense of I just wanted to be loved. My oldest daughter, I wanted my oldest daughter. I did not care who her father was. I ended up meeting someone. I got pregnant. I was happy. Didn't care if he stayed, didn't care if he go. But I ended up learning that I was being selfish. I was being selfish because I grew up without a father. But I felt like I was doing perfectly fine. I didn't miss out on anything. I didn't miss out on a meal. I didn't miss out on a vacation. I didn't miss out on having the finest things. I did not feel like I missed out on anything. But now that I'm in my 30s and I have lost a parent, I feel like there's a sense of unknowing. There's a sense of, I would like to know who he was. What other side of me is out there? Even if he's not out there, if he passed away, I don't know. But I do have the opportunity to correct a feeling that I have by looking. The only thing I can get is a no. The only thing I can get is a answer. Whether that answer is a positive or a negative, I have the choice to get that answer. So, what I want you guys to understand is accountability starts with you. It's no one else's journey but yours. It's no one else's feeling but yours. Your truth, your light, what you feel, and taking a step back and saying, what did I do in this process? Not what did I do to deserve that hurt, the pain. No, what did I do to get to a point where I allowed a person, a situation to take over me in a sense of now I took a step back and made that person a priority versus myself. Why I made that business, that job more important than my family. We have to hold ourselves accountable for the choices that we make. A lot of times we want what we want. And again, that is the sense of selfishness. Sometimes it's good to be selfish to yourself. But when that selfishness has another person, another being, hurts other people besides you, because at the end of the day, when you hurt other people, it's because you're hurt. When you do other people wrong, it's because you're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. That's the truth of sense. But you have a choice to make it right. You have a choice to say, I'm hurting and I don't want to keep hurting other people. But if you don't face your truth, if you don't look in the mirror and have that real conversation with yourself, you're a liar. And when I say you're a liar, that means you're looking at yourself every day in the mirror and lying to yourself about the pain and the hurt that you're going through. What is wrong with that? It's a lot of wrong in that, especially when you want to be the type of person to be like, oh, can't nobody tell me nothing. Oh, that person always want to tell me about myself. They see something in you that you need to see for yourself. Think about it. If you ever looked in the mirror and said, I love you, like literally look in yourself in the mirror and tell yourself I love you when you didn't feel that you was honest with yourself, how can you believe anything else that anybody say? You would never believe anything else that anybody say. Because you can't even believe your own self. How can you sit here and talk to someone else about their own mess and you can identify with your own mess? That's not being accountable for your actions. That's covering up and playing a blame game. You can't blame nobody else for the choices that you've done after the age of 30. I know. You have, if you are a sound body and you are a sound mind, you have the choice to get help. You have the choice to go to therapy. You have the choice to face some of the things that you did not want to face in life. You have a choice to talk to some of the people that have hurt you. Or you have the choice to heal from those people by walking away. You don't owe nobody an explanation at all for why you decided that you do not want to deal with them anymore. Your happiness comes before anyone else's. You cannot be the best mother, father, grandmother, person, and self when you hold on to grudges, brokenness, bitterness, anger. There's a reason why you have a petty baby mama. There's a reason why you distance yourself from people. There's a reason for everything. But you first have to hold yourself accountable for what you've done. I have to hold myself accountable for having two children by two different men who were neither one good for me. I have to hold myself accountable for the choices that I've made. No one else can hold your hand through this but God. No one else can comfort you when you realize, wow, it was me. I should have left a long time ago. I saw the signs the first few months of a relationship instead of holding on to 10, 15 years. We all have that choice. We all have the ability to step back and look at ourselves and look at our truths. I hope during this video you're able to set yourself aside and say, where did I do in this position? Where was I at mentally when I decided to continue to deal with this? What did I decide to accept when I should have never accepted it in the first place? Where was I at when I said, okay, I'm going to keep hope for something that is literally hopeless? I'm going to keep fighting for someone that's not fighting for me. I'm going to keep fighting to hope and have a relationship with someone that doesn't want to have a relationship with me. I'm going to keep hope and wanting to be loved when I really don't love myself. That's where we got to hold ourselves accountable. We cannot expect someone to love us when we don't love ourselves. We cannot expect someone to give what we don't give ourselves. That's why they say you teach someone how to treat you. And that's reality. We have to understand that if we are in a relationship with someone that has cheated on us multiple times, is now where are you at that you in your mental state or in the level of love that you have for yourself? Because love is kind, love is sweet, love is joy, love is happiness. None of that comes in cheating. None of that comes in abuse, physically or mentally. But when you allow it for so long, it's now it's time for you to take a step back. It's not their fault anymore. Not saying that it is your fault, but it is a place where you have the accountability. You have the choice to walk away. You have the choice to express yourself. They ignore it. Again, you walk away. But a lot of times we don't do that because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be without when we really are without in the first place. It's a lot of us that who've been in a relationship and lonely as heck. It's not a good feeling. So it's like you get that saying, I can do bad by myself. You can do bad to yourself. And that's why you stay in certain situations that are not good for you. We have to take a step back and hold ourselves accountable for the choices that we have made. But in that process, we have also the acceptance of I want to change. I want to do better. I am better for myself. And now a lot of those times you need to be alone. You need to see what you like and dislike. And it starts with yourself. Write down the things that you like about yourself. Write down the things that you don't like about yourself. Write down the things that you want to change or wish you could change. And in those processes, if you can't see you doing it on your own, seek therapy. Reach out. Change your life. God does so much when it comes to changing you and healing your heart. In this healing process, you cannot do this healing without God. You cannot do this healing without asking Him for forgiveness. And we're going to talk about forgiveness as well because that's definitely a big part of healing because healing and forgiveness is hand in hand. And you cannot heal if you holding on to unforgiveness. Because forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. And a lot of times you don't even have to talk to that person to forgive. Write that person a letter, whether you give it to them or not. You do have the option of letting things go. That's all on you. That's not on nobody else. If you never tell the person that hurt you how bad they hurt you, write it down, put it in the burn it, and let it go. That's all up to you. No one else but you. So I really, really hope you heard something today that will bring you joy, bring you hope, bring you peace, and help you on this healing journey. So I definitely want to thank you again for joining me. I want to thank you guys for subscribing again. Like, subscribe to the Journey Over My Journey. And we have so much to talk about on this healing journey. So, see you later. Bye.